in Oyo State. Obelare Wole Soyinka condemns ban placed on newly released song by Nigerian musician Idris Abdulkarim. On the foreign scene, at least 32 people killed after Russia attacked Ukrainian city of Sumy. Good evening, this is News at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Okpayemuni. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has directed the Osun State Commissioner of Police to stop ongoing imposition of illegal taxes on market operators and alleged forgery of council documents by factional council chairmen who are members of the All Progressives Congress, APC. In a statement by spokesperson Olale Rashid, the governor described the development as inimical to sustenance of law and order at the grassroots. The governor further instructed the police commissioner to invite the affected council chairmen for questioning for falsifying council documents, collecting dubious revenue through illegal documents, and for imposing and collecting illegal revenue from market operators. Governor Adeleke cited Borikwe local government, where the APC council chairman inaugurated a revenue task force which forged and printed out some council documents purportedly for internally generated revenue. The governor noted that the same illegal task force officials have begun issuing the fake documents like local government identification letters and market revenue receipts to the members of the public, directing the police commissioner to intervene before any breakdown of law and order. In Ondo State, the Commissioner of Police, Wilfred Afolabi, has ordered the immediate redeployment of a divisional police officer in charge of Igbarauke Division, Ganiyu Dauda, who was accused of extortion. The command's spokesperson, DSP Olushola Ayolade, in a statement said the DPO was redeployed over allegations of extortion leveled against him by residents of the community. Residents of Igbarauke community in a federal and local government area of the state had on Friday protested against alleged extortion by the DPO. The protesters, who were carrying leaves, blocked the main road leading to the community to show their grievances. DSP Ayolade, while reiterating the command's commitment to transparency, accountability, and community trust, urged members of the public to remain calm and allow for due process in handling the matter. In the meantime, Oyo State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of 3 suspects in connection with the hijacking of a truck loaded with 45,000 liters of petrol on the Ibadan-Ijebu-Ode road. A statement by the State Police Public Relations Officer Adewale Oshifeso in Ibadan said the recovered product belongs to the NIPCO Petroleum Nigeria Limited. Mr. Oshifeso explained that during preliminary investigations, the suspects disclosed that the hijacked truck was transferred to them by a third individual known as Femi, who allegedly masterminded the hijacking alongside his accomplices. The police then assured the public that investigations will continue diligently, focusing on dismantling the criminal network and holding all individuals involved accountable for their actions. The PPRO charged members of the public to stay vigilant and report suspicious activities to the local police, emphasizing that active participation is vital to the command's collective effort in fighting against crime. Osun State Governor Babagana Zulum has criticized the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, describing him as naive about the country's security realities following a deadly Boko Haram attack on the Damboa-Maiduguri road yesterday. The explosion, which occurred on the major road linking the state capital, Maiduguri, to Damboa, killed at least 8 people, severely injured 7 others, and left 14 more with minor injuries. Governor Zulum, while reacting after the incident, faulted the minister's recent remarks on the state's security. He urged greater resilience from both the affected communities and the Nigerian army, calling for sustained efforts to secure the volatile road. Despite the attack, Governor Zulum reaffirmed the state government's commitment to ensuring the safety of the Maiduguri-Damboa route. The governor disclosed that he had met with top military officials in Abuja, including the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, and Chief of Air Staff, who assured him of continued efforts to combat insurgency. In Lagos State, one of the 5 victims injured in Friday's explosion at a CCTV dealer's shop in Osun Street near Computer Village in the Ikeja area of Lagos State has died after succumbing to injuries. The Lagos State Police Command had earlier confirmed that 5 persons were injured in the explosion, which occurred around 6:35 p.m. In a statement issued by the State Police Public Relations Officer, CSP Benjamin Unteyi, it was noted that the scene was immediately cordoned off by operatives of the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit, the Mobile Police Detachment, and other police teams to ensure public safety. The Commissioner of Police, Olondare Jimoh, was also said to have visited the scene for an on-the-spot assessment shortly after the incident. In June 2023, President Bola Tinubu signed the Electricity Act 2023 into law to consolidate the laws relating to electricity in Nigeria across the entire value chain of the Nigerian power sector, including the integration of renewable energy to Nigeria's energy mix. In addition, the Act aims to encourage state government participation in the power sector and increase private sector investment. However, about 2 years after this step was taken, there are concerns that most states are acting very slowly amid high energy costs and the absence of stable electricity in the country. And joining us to discuss this on the news at 7 is Mr. Anthony Adejumo, team lead at Urban Alert, a civic tech organization. Thank you for joining us on the news at 7.
Thank you for having me.
All right, to the interview. Your organization, Urban Alert, recently wrote a letter to the Osun State Governor, Ademola Adeleke, over the Electricity Act 2023. Can you take us through the contents of that particular letter?
All right, thank you so much. Like you said, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the Electricity Act 2023 into law on the 8th of June 2023, and almost 2 years. Not all the states have actually domesticated this law, and in fact, as at Friday, 55% of the states in the country had, passed the law and also reached out to NEC, the Electricity Regulation Commission of the federal government, to take ownership of the regulatory status as provided by the Act. And it's unfortunate that even out of the 55% of the states that have passed the law, not all, and in fact, some of them have only set up the commission in the state. And even for those that have set up the commission, there is no serious action regarding the law and the Electricity Regulatory Act that was passed in those states. And coming down to Osun State, in 2023, I must say that the governor of the state, Governor Ademola Adeleke, was said to have had discussion at the Executive Council meeting regarding the domestication of the law in Osun State. When almost 2 years to this, nothing has been done in the state regarding the passage of this law. And you would agree with me that electricity is very, very important for us in this generation as a society. And in fact, no society can be productive without adequate power. And owing to the fact that Nigerians are currently suffering from the issue of electricity, you could remember between June 2023 and now, the federal government has put up so many actions which to many is not really encouraging to citizens. People are just paying money without receiving quality service. And it is clearly written in that act, the Electricity Act of 2023, that the state governments have been given the power to take ownership of the regulation. You could see distribution companies acting anyhow, disregarding the provisions of the law regarding the federal regulation. So at this time, it is painful because state governments in Nigeria, in fact, let's come particularly to Osun State, the Osun State government has actually not shown good signs regarding this act. And I must tell you that citizens are suffering because of the inaction or slow movement of the state government.
So what will be required of the government of Osun State government through this particular act?
So it was expected that state government, just like Osun, we have a swift move into the passage and, in fact, the domestication of the act in their state. So it is expected that the State House of Assembly put up a regulatory framework to establish this similar act, this similar law in the state. And this will give the state the opportunity to take ownership of anything regarding electricity distribution and, in fact, generation in some instances. So it is expected that after the passage of this law, the state government is expected to, inform the Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, that they are ready to take ownership of the regulatory status. And after 6 months, the NEC will now empower the state to take ownership. That means that the state is expected to have its own regulatory commission to ensure that the rights of the people, the quality standard, and everything regarding electricity market is taken care of. And because it has its own time frame, each day without action is going to affect the citizens. So that's why we've come to the public to also inform the state governor to say every night, every day that this thing is not being done, citizens will continue to suffer. So as we speak, the law has not been passed in Osun State, not to talk of informing NEC about this and taking action. So if, for instance, the governor and the State House of Assembly work together to pass that law now, in fact, this week, and also accent to that law within this week, that shows they will now inform the NEC, and in the next 6 months can now take ownership of the regulatory power regarding electricity markets in the state.
Does that mean the distribution companies will no longer be in charge of the electricity?
No, the distribution company can be in charge of electricity, and in fact, it will bring competition into the market. It's going to depend on the provisions of the law that is going to be put in place in the state. But for other states that have done this, the state governments now have the power to license companies or individuals for electricity generation and even distribution. We've seen states like Abia that have done massively well in this, and even in the Southwest, as I speak from our data, it's only Osun State that have not actually passed this law. We've seen states like Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Ondo, and Ekiti, they've passed this law, and some of these states have also tried to set up the commission that will manage the regulatory power of the state. So now, if Osun State government can pass this law with the House of Assembly and inform NEC and, have the power, they can now bring in more companies to now compete with the existing Ibadan electricity distribution company. They can now bring in investors to now begin to generate power within the state, which we actually think the state government will do. But every day, going without any serious action from the state means suffering for the people.
All right, let's go back to the issue of the delay. What would you say is the reason for this delay? Is it as a result of government's focus on other areas?
Well, I can't really say why the government has delayed this, because for me, the problem of electricity nationwide isn't just about an individual. It's not even just about the problem of the poor people. Even the elite are suffering. You could remember that some months ago, the federal government started the band system of payment, which, as a matter of fact, it has not been working. People are paying without enjoying the power. And for me, even for people that works within this sector, they know this is fraudulent. You can't continue to collect money from people without providing, corresponding services to people. So with the power, with the provisions of this law, the state government, if committed, if serious towards making things happen regarding the energy sector within the state, can now use that opportunity to even bring in more investors. As a matter of fact, practically speaking, I doubt if Osun State has any investor working towards the energy sector as we speak. Maybe on the ground, we have not seen anything physical. So such a law can even attract investors into the state. We have places like the Owala Dam, which researchers have said can generate electricity for Osun State. We have places like the Olumirin waterfall that people feel can actually generate electricity for the state, and we have also the clean energy sources of electricity that investors can come in and invest into for the provision of electricity. But if the state government is not showing commitment towards these things, these are the things that are expected to attract investors. No matter the talk you make, no matter the sugar-coated conversations you have, if you cannot provide a legal framework for businesses to make things happen, you are only deceiving yourself. And as an individual, I feel the Osun State government is actually not doing well by having a slow pace of movement when there are issues that are directly affecting the citizens like this. And I must say, if the Osun State government, as of today, can act rightly regarding these very acts and put things in place for the people to enjoy, it's going to be a trailblazer, and definitely the people will never forget this current administration.
All right. In the past, electricity control and distribution was being managed by the government. Remember the days of NEPA, that is National Electric Power Authority. In your own opinion, do you think government can ensure adequate distribution, as in proper distribution and control of electricity supply? State government now.
Yes, I think that's doable. One of the things that the Electricity Act passed by the federal government is aiming to do is to decentralize the energy sector from generation to distribution. So if we can have pockets of distribution, sites within our states, within the country, that means the whole country will not just depend on the limited generation sites that we have, and that will also bring competition into the markets. So assuming when the state has the power to regulate the market, and they decide to bring in more companies into the state, and you're dividing Osun into three, let's say senatorial district, and you give Osun East to a company, you give Osun West to another company, and Osun Central to another company, definitely there's going to be competition. And I tell you, when there are competitions like this, and people living in Osun West feels people in the Osun Central are enjoying power, businesses may decide to move to the Central. And these will actually force those companies working in the West to do something more better that will make electricity, available for people. So everything still comes back to the table of the governor, who I feel at this point need to be very swift in taking decisions and ensuring that the House of Assembly pass that law, assent to it, and take the conversation forward. In fact, in the next few days, because every day means people will continue to be in darkness, our hospitals will continue to be in darkness, and even our schools.
All right. Thank you very much. Sincere appreciation to Tony Juwon from Obanala. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, moving on, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLA, have arrested a 41-year-old alleged ex-convict and Malaysian returnee in the BC Udatu with 2 giant music speakers used to conceal 4 large parcels of methamphetamine weighing 2.7 kilograms for distribution in Yola and Mubi in Ademola State and across the border into Cameroon. The agency disclosed this in a statement signed by its spokesperson, Femi Babafemi. He said that Indobusi was arrested inside a commercial transport bus at an NDLEA checkpoint at Namtari along Nguru Yola Road, Adamawa on Monday, 7th April 2025. Babafemi said in his statement in the bus he claimed that he returned to Nigeria to continue his illicit drug trade after serving out his jail term in Malaysia, where he had been arrested, convicted, and sent to prison for drug trafficking offenses. In another exercise, NDLEA said its officers in a joint border operation with customs personnel at the Nigeria-Cameroon border in Fum Cross River State arrested a trans-border drug trafficker, 35-year-old Odopita Ikechukwu, with 8,740 ampoules of assorted opioids weighing 398 kilograms. In other news, President Bola Tinubu has directed relevant education regulatory bodies to intensify efforts in clamping down on illegal tertiary institutions operating across Nigeria. Speaking at the 14th convocation of the National Open University of Nigeria in Abuja, the President ordered the National Universities Commission, the National Board for Technical Education, and other agencies to take decisive action against what he described as certificate millers, undermining the credibility of the education sector. President Tinubu, who was represented by the Director of University Education at the Federal Ministry of Education, Rakiya Ilyasu, want that the integrity of the academic system must not be compromised. At the convocation, 51 inmates from correctional centers across the country graduated from now, including 41 undergraduates and 10 postgraduates. The event also featured the conferment of honorary degrees on the President of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Wakumi Adesina, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has released the results of the 2025 Mock Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination conducted on Thursday, April 10. JAMB disclosed these in a statement by its spokesperson, Fabian Benjamin, noting that candidates can check their results via SMS using the phone number registered with for the examination. According to the board, the mock UTME is optional and aims to test its yearly innovations, while also giving candidates an opportunity to experience the computer-based test environment ahead of the main examination. JAMB also acknowledged delays faced by some candidates during the mock exam and expressed regret over the inconvenience. It explained that the disruptions were due to new features introduced to improve the upcoming main UTME. You're watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come, Peter Obi calls for urgent redirection of national planning and investment towards health, education, and poverty alleviation. We'll bring you more on these when we return. Welcome back. This is still News at 7 on Western Spring Television. A reminder of our headline. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke directs Police Commissioner to stop alleged imposition of illegal taxes and forgery of council documents by factional council chairman. Police confirm arrest of 3 suspects in connection with the hijacking of a petrol-laden truck in Osun State. Belare, Wale Soyinka condemns ban placed on newly released song by Nigerian musician Idris Abdulkarim. On the foreign scene, at least 32 people killed after Russia attacked Ukrainian city of Sumy. Former presidential candidate of the Labour Party and former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi has criticized the poor state of Nigeria's healthcare system, calling for an urgent redirection of national planning and investment towards health, education, and poverty alleviation. Mr. Obi spoke as the keynote speaker at an event organized by ANAP doctors in North America and the University of Nigeria alumni in Lagos. In a statement on Sunday via X, he expressed that true development should be measured by improvement in the Human Development Index rather than physical infrastructure. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has condemned the recent ban placed on a song by Nigerian musician Idris Abdulkarim, describing the development as a return to the culture of censorship and a threat to the right to free expression. In a statement issued from New York University, Abuja Abbey, Soyinka criticized the action and its wider implications, saying it echoed past attempts to stifle artistic and socio-political commentary in Nigeria. Soyinka noted that he had not listened to the banned song, but stressed that the issue transcends content and concerns a fundamental democratic principle. He also pointed out the irony that censorship often benefits the targeted artist thanks to free governmental promotion. The literary icon warned that such censorship was not only counterproductive but also dangerous to democratic development. The Kano State government has reacted to the ECOWAS court judgment, which declared the state's blasphemy laws as human rights violations. The state government said it has every right to create laws that reflect the moral and religious context of its residents. On April 9, the ECOWAS court held that the blasphemy provisions of the Kano State Sharia Penal Code law and the Kano State Penal Code do not align with the freedom of expression guaranteed under regional and international human rights laws. The court ordered the federal government to repeal or amend the identified law provisions and similar laws to align with Article 9 of the African Charter. Reacting to the ruling on Sunday, Kano Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Ibrahim Weya, said the state government has a responsibility to uphold the religious sanctity of its population, who are predominantly Muslims. The state government said the Nigerian constitution gives subnationals the right to make laws and that the ECOWAS court does not have supremacy over the country's constitution. The Kano government said the state is not blind to the need for legal measures against abuse of blasphemy laws, adding that blasphemy prosecutions are always approved by the state attorney general. The Lagos State Vehicle Inspection Service has advised residents to avoid boarding rickety vehicles, warning that they pose a serious threat to public safety. The director of these, Akin George Fashola, issued the warning in a statement released on Sunday. Mr. Fashola said several dilapidated vehicles had been recently impounded across Lagos for failing to meet safety standards. He described the condition of the vehicles as ticking time bombs, citing expired tires, weak brakes, and rusted body parts as major hazards. According to him, many of the vehicles operate mostly at night, putting unsuspecting commuters at even greater risk. And now to the foreign scene. At least 32 people have been killed and 84 injured, including 10 children,